Life is a sexually transmitted disease that's 100% fatal. I'm all for getting a little wild, but next time, let's try it without the jetpacks. Hey guys, Dantixy bringing you some real Starfield news. Though it seems like the only way we get information these days is through the ESRB. If developers didn't need to rate their games, we'd be buying these things blind, as most have also stopped giving out review codes before the game releases. Regardless though, there's a ton of juicy confirmed details that I absolutely have to run through with you guys, including axes, blood effects, sharing beds, drugs, stealing, and more, so let's get right into it. In order to get their game rated, the ESRB has to get their lucky dirty hands on it. So they did with Starfield and wrote a little summary which I'll be sharing and analysing with you lovely people now. So according to them, this is an open world role-playing game in which players assume the role of a miner tasked with finding artifacts across the galaxy. We assumed this based on the trailers, and my theory on the rings now has a bit more weight. Check out my last few Starfield videos if you want to learn more, but there are a few clips of the player character reaching for shards of the ring-like objects that circle around and form gateway portals we see so often. It's still speculation what they do when looked inside or entered, but I believe I have the best theory and I haven't been wrong so far. It also says you're a miner, which might just be because you chose a miner-related background, or it could be your profession when you start. Or, more likely, it could just be because you have the option to mine in the game. Usually these ESRB guys don't seem to like video games very much. Moving on, from first and third person perspectives, players interact with various characters, complete quests, and search for supplies while battling enemies, e.g. humans, robots, and alien creatures. This paragraph is so obvious, but it's good to see Bethesda pay more attention to third-person perspectives. The primary way Todd and the team want us to play is first-person for that immersive experience, but we've seen gameplay of both and the option is there. It's also confirmed we'll be battling robots. You have to have figured as much since we have our own robot Vasco, so it makes sense that there would be hostile ones. Hopefully hostile robots come at you with a different style of combat than their human counterparts. Players use futuristic guns, lasers, axes, and explosives to kill enemies. Combat is fast-paced with frequent gunfire, cries of pain, and explosions. We've seen guns and lasers, but axes? Really? Melee weapons are confirmed, but I wonder why they're paying special attention to axes. Perhaps axes play a bigger role, both able to be used in combat and able to mine or prune resources in the world. Our own little space Minecraft fantasy, chopping down space trees for wood and gigafruit so we can build space cabins. I do appreciate that Bethesda hasn't held back the cries of pain and explosions as well. Though, mentioning lasers, I did say I thought it was weird that laser weapons had recoil, as a joke mostly, but a few of you jumped at me with, "Dan, it's a railgun, blah 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 blah." I expect a written apology in the mail soon, guys. Attacks on some enemies can result in blood splatter effects. Several environments depict blood stains on the ground around corpses. Though blood splatter effects is typical for many games, it's good we're getting it in a Bethesda game without mods. No doubt there'll be an option to turn it off and on, but it seems like we're being treated more like adults with Starfield, which is definitely refreshing. The game contains some suggestive material in the dialogue and after sharing a bed with characters, e.g. life is a sexually transmitted disease that's 100% fatal. I'm all for getting a little wild, but next time, let's try it without the jetpacks. Talk about seeing stars, whew, that was amazing. You hear this after sharing a bed with characters, aka after making sweet, sweet love. Yes, it's confirmed you can have sex with characters in Starfield, because why else would you be having post-coital chats? It's unclear if you witness the whole act, like many Skyrim mods let you do, or if it will fade away to black, but the fact that sex scenes aren't mentioned here lends evidence to the latter. Modders, you know what to do. I expect hardcore sex scenes between astronauts in full spacesuits. Go do it now. So in terms of what your partner says, life is a sexually transmitted disease that's 100% fatal. I mean, they're not wrong, but that's a really weird post-sex chat. Make sure to get your character checked after having sex with that one. Then there's a comment about sex without jetpacks next time. This is almost evidence to the fact we won't see any actual sex, because the joke won't work if you just saw them screwing with jetpacks on. Though that would be hilarious regardless. Then you get the typical, "Ooh, that was amazing" comment. Perhaps you get graded on your sexual performance. The first comment is them being kind of put out by how bad you were, and the last was where you blew their minds metaphorically out the airlock. A fictional drug, Aurora, is prominent in the game, with a section involving player characters working in an illicit drug lab. Players can also obtain Aurora by stealing or buying it from vendors. Consuming results in distortion effects on the screen. We knew about Aurora and the floating pleasure city that produces it. Perhaps you get high and sleep with people there. Bethesda games have always had illicit drugs though, with Fallout having skills dedicated to being more deadly on them, so this isn't something mind-blowingly unexpected. It's good to know that you can steal from vendors again, but we've come to expect that from a Bethesda game. Hopefully the drug does more for you than taking skooma. The most notable part of this is that we'll be working in a drug lab. Is this part of some intel gathering in order to find more leads on artifacts, or is this simply just a side mission? If so, it's good to see some variety already beyond just go there, shoot this, collect that. Finally, the words fuck and bullshit appear in the game. I love how they censor it on their own website. Yes, there will be swearing kiddies. We've got to protect the kiddies from the nasty little words while giving them devices that let them access hardcore violence and sex at any time. Now, previously the ESRB mentioned the game will feature in-game purchases, but doesn't clarify that we will be spending our money on anything in particular of note. I'll go ahead and say it's most likely cosmetics or a way to pay for player-created mods, which will be good for the modding community. It's unlikely that DLC or expansions are on the cards just yet, but it's something to keep in mind. And that's all the new information I have for you guys. What do you think? Does this make you more pumped for the Starfield showcase coming up next month? Let me know below. I say this without an ounce of doubt. Subscribing to Dantix will get you the latest and the best content on Starfield moving into and beyond release, so be sure to hit that bell button and chuck me a like if you're feeling generous. Thank you so much for watching. Ciao, friends.